this could be an exciting time or this could be a frustrating time. The time is now. Vasily Lomachenko, if he's trying to get uh, the Devin Haney fight overturned, which will never happen. But what's interesting is seeing Vasily Lomachenko wanting to face Tank Davis, putting in a petition from the WBA to face Tank Davis. That is very exciting. Um, to see Coach Kenny Ellis, talking about a mix-up, where you got all the top guys facing each other. Of course, he talked about Tank, Devin, and Shakur, but you got to include Loma because Loma showed he was competitive in the Haney fight. So Loma's up in there. You can't forget Loma now. You know what I'm saying? And Loma wants to face Tank. Devin wants to face either Tank or Shakur. Shakur wants to face Devin. Tank Kenny Ellis was saying that, Tank faced Shakur. Kenny Ellis talking about giving us the fights we want to see. This is a special time where we still have some of the best best lightweights in the world. Tank, Shakur, Devin, Loma. And these four should just duke it out with each other. You know what I mean? Devin probably only got one fight left, so he got to use that, sensibly because I don't think by the end of this year he can't stay at 135. He's not going to be able to make it. You know what I'm saying? So Devin have one more fight left. Tank, will be at 135. Shakur will be at 135. Loma will be at 135. Duke it out. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, but duke it out. What made the Four Kings so exciting back in the 80s and 70s? It duked it out. Hold on one second. I'm cooking some cookies. Oh, this is delicious. I got one more sip. I got to shut this down. See, I was baking some cookies, man. Cookies, baby. Yeah. Baking some cookies. Mm, mm. Tastes super good. All right. Mm, 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 mm. Mm. Tastes like caramel. Yeah. So, mm, man, oh man, oh man. Yeah. Yeah. To see the lightweights facing each other, that would be exciting. Mm, 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 mm. Real good. My cookies are very healthy because mm, it's first of all an oatmeal cookie, and I don't use sugar. I use caramel in the cookie instead. So when the cookie, if you char that cookie, if it somehow gets charred, the caramel only shines out more. So it's tremendously tasty. It has certain ingredients in it. I'm not going to tell you all the ingredients, but got raisins, got almonds in it. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you the other stuff. There's some other stuff in it, but it's really, really nice. All right, so this is exciting because if boxing can come back to the time where guys ain't afraid to face each other, they just want to put on great fights, fights the fans desire to see. I gotta say, kudos to anybody who starts, they decide they want all the smoke. You know what I mean? Because people can guess, make an educated guess or whatever on who would beat who. But truthfully, we don't know until they match up and they fight. And boxing's a doing sport. Boxing's not a talking sport. It's a doing sport. You're not gonna go into boxing Hall of Fame for talking, right? As a boxer, you gotta do. All right. So enough of this talk about whether Tank or Shakur are the best or what. Listen, man. As Coach Kenny said, and I believe him. Only way you can know the best is to beat the best, which means you gotta fight. And Coach Kenny, he's tired also of the promoters and all these other networks and things holding back fights. It's about time these fights happen. And the more fighters are free to fight each other, the better. The better. Right? Because every time you fight somebody, win, lose, or draw, you gain experience. You develop more as a fighter. Also, shout out to Antonio Tarver. He said some harsh criticism, but the criticism really is important. Devin Haney doesn't have the best balance in the world. I know he's a growing guy, so that may be one of the reasons. And that's not the first person I heard. Antonio Tarver is not the first person I heard talking about Devin Haney's balance and why how he throws punches. The mechanics of how he's throwing punches is why he ain't really getting that optimal maximal power he's supposed to have in every punch. As Shakur even said, Devin don't sit down on his punches properly. And I think that's one of the things that Devin has to work on. I also notice when he's pivoting and slipping and sliding punches, he's over moving, he's overreaching, he's not perfectly in balance. He's kind of off balance, which is why sometimes when Lomachenko hit him with certain shots, it looked like he's going to fall down or he's about to get stopped. But it's not that. It's just his balance is off. And I think Antonio Tarver saw that. He also said Devin Haney's time is not perfect. He doesn't have the perfect timing that he's supposed to have. So, and Antonio is now a coach. Tarver is also a coach. Um, and this is not the first time I've heard somebody say that, right? Now, Antonio Tarver said that Devin Haney he's not, he's gotten undisputed, but he's still not the undisputed guy. Meaning, he don't live up to that title. Meaning, when you're the undisputed champion, nobody questions if you could be beat. But in the case of Devin Haney, if he come in, say, correct with Shakur or he's coming with Tank, Tank's coming at him, we don't know if he wouldn't get beat by those guys, right? Because Shakur's got incredible balance, right? And Tank also has great balance, all right? So that is why Antonio Tarver say Devin Haney still have a load of work to do. One, Devin Haney he's very strong, so he can punch, I'm sure. But the mechanics of how he punches is wrong, right? And I saw that. I noticed that. Of course, Loma is kind of awkward, so you can't really sit down on your punches properly unless you've really worked on those mechanics. The other thing he's saying is his balance. The other thing he was talking about is that Devin Haney and Antonio feels that Devin Haney's timing is slightly off. He don't have the timing down right. And he said the rhythm and flow. He finds that Devin Haney don't have that rhythm. And if you look at throwback fighters like Floyd, like Antonio Tarver, the '96 team, the '94 team, the '96 team, the '92 team, and so on, these guys had the rhythm down pat. And Antonio Tarver noticed these things about Devin. Now that doesn't mean that Devin won't beat Tank or he won't beat Shakur, because intangibles is also a very important thing to think about when you're talking about Devin. Of course, Devin didn't fight his typical fight against Loma. He took the fight to Loma. Devin still has to develop more in terms of his front foot game, right? Work fighting off the front foot. So there's a lot about weight distribution, all that stuff. and I could see that Devin's still growing into that. And he's only 24 years of age. I'm sure over time he'll get better at it. And they were talking about him being better at his balance. Another person who talked about it, his own trainer, Devin's trainer, said Devin's improving in terms of his balance and how to sit down on his punches. And also another trainer, the trainer of Floyd Mayweather, who you used to, well, at least the guy who used to deal with Floyd Mayweather's balance. Shout out to Leroy Kong. What's up, bro? Great live. Yeah, man. Am I what you need here? I hope so. Shout out to Leroy Kong. Don't forget to smash that like button. Show me some love, y'all. And don't forget you can donate to my channel via PayPal. I didn't have the link in the stream, but don't worry. You can also donate via PayPal. Help your brother out with that. Yeah, but yeah, so um Devin Haney, who was it? I forgot the name of the guy who he's a coach up in Chicago, Michigan. I can't remember. He's got his own channel, and they interview him all the time. He talks mostly about Floyd. Forgot his name though. Big, tall guy. He was a heavyweight. I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot his name. Anyway, he was also talking about Devin Haney and Devin Haney's balance. He also said that Devin Haney kind of hasn't progressed forward, as much as Tank has. And so this is, again, just constructive criticism. This is not a knock on Devin Haney. He's a phenomenal fighter and everything, but he's got a lot of room to still improve. What I like about Devin, what Devin is doing is he's sort of breaking the mold. Devin's saying, I want to test myself against the best. If it's Tank, if it's Shakur, if it's Loma, if it's whoever's the best, I want to test myself. And I think that's the thing that I really appreciate about Devin. The same thing with David Benavidez. David Benavidez want to test himself against the best. Again, another 24-year-old. Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is pretty selective. He's a 24-year-old anyway. These guys are 24-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Raleigh Romero, I can't mention Raleigh. I can't mention Ryan. I can't even mention Tio. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is that what I appreciate about these fighters, like Devin, like Devin and Shakur, they want to smoke. Okay? Shakur and Devin, never mind Shakur be saying some dumb shit sometimes, but Shakur wanted to smoke, right? Devin wanted to smoke. Right, Tank looks like he's ready for the smoke, so he probably would engage in that. And of course, Lomachenko showing that he wants to smoke, with select people, but nonetheless he wants to smoke. And so I don't know if Vasily Lomachenko is looking for a rematch with Devin. It doesn't seem so. Okay, it looks like he wants to move on to a money fight like Tank. Nonetheless, we got to put him in there because he was competitive with Devin. So he's still in the top echelon, And you have to keep Lomachenko. He like the old dude amongst the young guys, rumbling with the young dudes like Pacquiao was rumbling with the younger guys. This was up. And so we're going to see, I would love to see all of them fight each other. You know what I mean? I know Devin can't stick around for much longer. He's going to stick around maybe till the end of this year. Maybe he gets one more fight with whoever. One of those guys, hopefully, and he moves up, right? Now, a lot of people know that Devin's, when he does the weight cuts, he compromises himself, so he's a bit weight trained, okay? But Devin don't let none of that keep him back because he's a strong-minded individual. He may have flaws in his game, but he's a strong-minded individual, and we all know it's not just about having flaws or not having flaws. It's about executing a game plan, and it's about being tough-minded. And Devin showed all of that against Lomachenko. So Devin's willing to face whoever. He's down for whoever, right? People be talking about, I saw a video where they were talking about how, Devin's going to have to deliberate what next for him. Well, guess what? Devin might just do one more fight at 135. Shakur feels Devin is weight trained. He going to beat him down. I don't know about that. I'm going to tell you something. Devin Haney got a real strong mind. That's what we saw. I'm saying 9 people out of 10 people, when Lomachenko was crashing that Devin Haney ass, if it was them, they may have folded it because lots of people fold. A lot of people get dropped. Let me tell you, Loma would crash guys, right? He crashed Luke Campbell. He dropped Luke Campbell. He crashed Jose Pedraza. He dropped Jose Pedraza. He crashed Jorge Linares. He stopped Jorge Linares, right? He crashed Nakatani. He stopped Nakatani, right? He crashed Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez responded like Devin Haney did and came back, right? But Teofimo Lopez, the very next fight, lost, right? Um, he crashed Richard Comey. Richard Comey got beat up, dropped, looked like the fight was going to be stopped, and then Richard Comey fought back. Okay? He fought back. Kudos to Richard Comey. Know what I mean? But he got dropped multiple times, right? Devin Haney didn't drop. Loma couldn't drop Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? So that just tells you the mindset. In fact, Devin Haney came back to win the 12th round and bully Lomachenko in that 12th round, right? That tells you the caliber of person Devin Haney is, right? Y'all talk about Tio and that Tio's a gorilla and everything. Well, Devin Haney's a gorilla too. He may not have that one-hitter quitter power, even though I believe he has it. It's just that he doesn't know how to extract it from himself because he's a big, strong 135 pounder. It's going to be 140 pounder. I just think that like Antonio Tarver, like Floyd Mayweather, the guy who used to do the balancing thing for Floyd Mayweather, which I can't remember his name right now, like who was the other person that made that comment? Oh, Lion Killer Podcast. They realized that his balance was off. How he throw punches, sometimes he be off balance, or he's sometimes not properly shifting his weight properly, right? And then just the technique of throwing the punch, sometimes he throw it wrong. So if he could get that organized, maybe he'd be even more of a killer than he is already, right? So I'm just saying, I love guys who want all the smoke. You know, Pacquiao in the latter stages of his career wanted all the smoke. You know what I mean? And that's great. And sometimes that's what we need with fighters. Some fighters, they want smoke that they can't handle, right? But there are other fighters want all the smoke. You know, Ryan Garcia wanted the smoke, but he couldn't handle the smoke, right? And he got smoked. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, sometimes, you know, making the fights that the fans want to see only benefits the sport. And I think always benefits the fighters because Ryan Garcia's name got bigger, even though he got stopped. Tank got a bigger name. And Tank's the face of boxing, or one of the faces of boxing. Devin Haney, by fighting Lomachenko, with this controversy, has us talking about this fight. And we are more than halfway through the week. This fight happened over the weekend. So that tells you just how much it benefits Devin Haney and it benefits Lomachenko. And the fact that that fight was 250,000 pay-per-view buys, which is really decent, you know, it's like Tank Davis's number without Ryan Garcia, shows us that both Loma and Devin Haney are big enough names for Tank to take on to make over 1 million pay-per-view buys. I mean, Tank versus Lomachenko is, for Tank at least, it would be the ideal situation because Lomachenko's a veteran of the sport. Requesting the face, you know, Tank. I would say Loma, though, get a win under your belt. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Tank and Coach Calvin, they always wanted to face Loma. You know, and they were saying if Loma won, they would face him. Well, Loma wants you still. He might not have won, but he wants to face you. So maybe Loma does a quick fight this year and then faces Tank at the beginning of next year or this year. You know what I'm saying? The end of this year. But Loma versus Tank is something that the fights fans wanted to see a long time. It's been building for a long while. You know, kind of be replaced with Haney and Shakur, but that's something that fans will obviously love to see. And I do believe Loma's going to give Tank some problems. You know, definitely. Loma's giving everybody some problems. It's just when, you know. And Loma's a smart fighter, as we all know. So, you know, Loma versus Tank's a good fight. You know, Shakur versus Tank, a good fight. Shakur versus Haney's a good fight. Haney versus Loma rematch is a good fight. Haney versus Tank is a good fight. Tank versus Haney's. Oh, I said that right. Those are all good fights. Shakur versus Loma, good fight, right? Shakur versus Haney is a good fight. So why not have all these fights? Okay, you may be able to have all of these fights at 135. Haney gonna have to move up. Haney got like one more fight in him at 135, I think. If not, then probably you just need to move up. You know, um, but all those are good fights. Those are blockbuster fights. So why can't we see them? That's what I'm hoping for. And I'm like Coach Kenny. I want to see all those fights. I think there are four kings at 135. Loma is a king still. He still is a king. You know what I mean? He got beat, but he's still a king. You know, because the fight wasn't close, but it was absolutely competitive. And a competitive fight is what you want to see. And it was exciting. Loma came up and showed us. Loma showed us the Loma that we know in the 10th round and the 11th round. Showed us without a doubt. So, you know, he's still there, man. Of course, Shakur said he wants to face Loma. I mean, just give the man. Folks, just go to the smoke and let's see some smoke. That's what we want. We want to see smoke in the 135-pound division, and nobody should stop the fighters from making it happen. Ryan Garcia said, you know, made Oscar and Golden Boy step in the line and make this thing happen. Devin Haney faced Kambosos twice. Then he faced Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? If he has to rematch Lomachenko, then just rematch Lomachenko. If Lomachenko wants that rematch, give him it. Like, let him know, hey, I'm willing to go through the smoke with you again. You know what I'm saying? No fear. Just let's do it. You know what I'm saying? You know, if Haney can't get Tank at 135, hopefully maybe Tank will come up to 140 at some point. You never know. Because if Devin Haney becomes undisputed at 140, which is a possibility, you know, Tank might want to touch that. He might want to say, hey, you know what? I might go up to 140 and test myself against Devin Haney. Because that's a fight we should have had at 135. You know what I'm saying? So you never know how it will pan out or what will have pan out. But what I can say is that this is the opportunity of a lifetime. You got four of the top 135 pounders right now. It'd be a travesty if these guys don't fight each other and they end up going their separate ways or up into divisions and never face each other. And this is the opportunity. They're all in the same division. You know what I mean? So I think that this is a good thing that's happening. People trying to agitate. You see people on Tank's team trying to agitate to get these fights happening. You know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that they make that happen. And the fighters need to lead. They need to say, I want this guy. And tell the promoters and the managers. Devin Haney going back to his team, that sounds cool. But Devin Haney, you lead the team. You're the guy that the final say. You got to decide where your sights are trained on. And say for all these guys, I need to go talk with my team. No, you're going to talk with your team, but let your team know the direction you want to go in. Let your team know, hey, this is the fights I want. Tell them. They work for you. You don't work for them. All right, man, I'm out of here. Shh. What you need in the building. It's the fighter that generates the wealth. Nobody else generates the wealth. So the fighter has the final say. Anyway, I'm out of here. What you need in the building. Peace.